What's going on, y'all? Rob Anderson, Clean Power Wash, Salisbury, Maryland. Had somebody reach out to me the other day and ask me a question. Figured instead of just responding to him, I would respond to all of you guys. His question was, how do you juggle what most people have, which is a full-time job, and growing your wash business, and how do you just manage all of that? Some basic systems that I set up. First and foremost, if you can't answer the phone call, there's answering services, which is great. You may not have the money to be able to afford that, but we all know that when somebody does make that phone call, if you don't answer, a lot of times all they do is they hit that back button. They don't even leave a voicemail, and then they call that next listing on Google or the next company that was recommended on Facebook or wherever. What we did is we used Customer Factor, and there's an onboarding web form or like estimate request form that they have. They can go directly into your CRM. So what it is, I basically created a quick response text message. So I couldn't answer the phone while I was working back at Verizon. But if I saw the phone was ringing, I could go ahead and hit this auto response to them. So thanks for calling Clean Power Wash. Sorry we couldn't answer the phone right now. In order to expedite your request for an estimate, please fill out the link below or click that link below. Thanks and have a great day. So a really quick thing, it shows that person that, sorry we couldn't answer, we could be on the other line, or however you want to phrase it there. But that way we would go ahead and get information. It greatly increased the opportunity to get those leads and keep that, at least that opportunity, instead of to miss out on it. Because you want to make sure that every time you spend money to bring in a lead or generate stuff, that you're getting value out of it. Again, software helps a lot. Just being able to schedule and sending people the estimates early on. And granted, I did this for basically over a decade, part-time, before we really started growing and got to the point where I went full-time in it. But being able to send people estimates via Google Earth, Street View, basic, viewing of it. I never, when somebody would tell me, oh, it's a 1,500 square foot rancher, or it's a bungalow, or whatever else. I don't really care about that. I want to see what it looks like, get an idea design-wise. If it's just a single-story rancher, those are pretty easy to just go ahead and price right then and there. And I know we definitely left a lot of money on the table, but when you don't have that opportunity time-wise, if you're working a full-time job, most of your sales is going to have to be done remotely. And then the time that you're not working your full-time job or part-time job or whatever, you're spent doing the actual washing. So you want to make sure that you're maximizing that opportunity. Doing definitely a lot of stuff with lawn signs. I personally was not doing as much, with Facebook marketing and things back then. But spend that time too. When you're doing this, and I would talk a lot about learning and Audible and all, I would highly recommend that while you're doing that, you've got your earbuds. Gives you a lot of flexibility there. No matter what job you've got too, as far as those missed phone calls, you've got some sort of breaks or lunches or whatever else, and you spend most of your lunches and breaks making those return phone calls. I brought on help a lot sooner than I think a lot of people do. Most people work themselves, not necessarily work themselves to death, but do all of the production, all the sales and everything. I had other guys doing production for me, albeit at less than stellar training and less than stellar performance, but that's a big way to do that. The other thing as far as growing your business then is, as much as possible, and I know a lot of people, I was making good money at Verizon. I was basically making $30 an hour. So it wasn't like if you're working your part-time minimum wage job at 12 to 14 or whatever, maybe when it gets to $15 an hour. I tried as much as possible to not take that money out of the business. the more that you can keep that money in the business early on will help you level up faster, help you invest in better equipment, more marketing, and things early on, so that then you can produce more revenue that you can actually keep and take home and take out of the business. And it doesn't have to be, it's not you're giving up the first 3 years of any personal benefit to it. You do need to make sure that you're paying yourself. Don't do this just to feed the business. You have to also be getting some benefit out of it. Google Voice was another great thing that we set up. And it's no different really than the visual voicemail and stuff, but that gave me an option so I could see a transcript of what somebody was saying in that voicemail instead of having to call it and check it. So that was something where I could go ahead and oh, it's this client, or oh, hey, this person needs that estimate done. I could see that while I was still working without, being on my phone. And I fully understand that a lot of that was, taking advantage of some of my employer's time, which isn't right, but we're trying to grow the business and do what we can. If you've got a spouse and they can answer, your power washing calls during the day, that's a great thing to be able to do. That's the other nice thing about a virtual number. We had a virtual number that would ring over to our main number, but you could have that be able to be accessed by somebody else. Make sure that your voicemail greeting is a good greeting. So if they do get to your voicemail, it sounds like you care, instead of, oh, our voicemail box is full, sorry, we're too important to be able to delete messages. That's something else that we liked about Google Voice, because I've literally never had to delete any messages on there, and it's continued to just send me those transcripts and see that information. Other things early on, just figuring out ways to, you do have to sacrifice some of your personal time. Those late nights working and fixing the equipment, I wasn't able to be there for my guys early on. They'd be out there doing work, something's broken, well, I got to fix it that night. So I'd be up until 1 or 2 in the morning working on that. But it was that passion that I had. If you want your business to succeed, you've got additional motivation to make your business grow, to put in that time, to sacrifice the sleep, to sacrifice time with family. Don't completely eliminate that time, because obviously that's the reason why you're growing this business, is to support your family. But if your spouse and your kids understand, hey, daddy is working on this right now because they need that so that they can go make money tomorrow. It makes it more manageable for everybody. Just again, being good about your time. I think what else? Early on too, asking for referrals, which is always important. Making sure you're doing the basics, putting lawn signs out at every house. Make sure that you're doing as much as you can to leverage each opportunity. You get into that neighborhood, you finish the job a little early, try and get that other thing done. You also, depending on your shifts, I know I've seen a lot of guys that they work second and third shift, and so they would work wash during the day and then work at night. When I was at Verizon, we had weeks where we worked 1 to 9 Monday through Friday, and or we had a day off during the week, and we had to work 9 to 5 on Saturday. So those weeks I would schedule a job or 2 during the day and 2 or 3 jobs on the day that I was off, and then the other weeks it would be Monday through Friday, it was 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or whatever it was, but I had off on Saturday, so that week we would schedule all of our wash jobs on Saturdays. It's a nice thing about it, scheduling wise. You just let the customer know, hey, this is our next available appointment. They don't know that the next available appointment is because you have to work your full-time job. It's something too where you have to, I would do it on a case-by-case basis. A lot of people know that people power wash as a side hustle or whatever, and they can pretty much tell based off of what you pull up to or pull up with to their job site, and how full-time or how invested you really are into the business. But I mean, some people love supporting the fact that you're hustling, and then they'll be more understanding. They'll be more likely to give you referrals. Others want to see you be a professional contractor, and so that's the image that you portray. I think really what else? Again, it's just maximizing that time. Maximizing that time and being good about your money. So technology will help with some things. The better records you keep early on, the better things will be later on. And that's why, again, for what customer factor costs or whatever any other CRM costs, leverage that to its maximum capability to help be efficient. Sending those reminders, sending the estimate notifications, sending the quotes, seeing how many times they've opened up the quotes. And I would say too, early on, you are going to be making some deals. Realize that that customer wants you to take 25 or 50 bucks off. You want to try and remove some. If they want a lower price, you want to try and reduce the scope of services if at all possible. But realize that back then, making 175 bucks versus 225, you take that deal because you need that money right then and there versus no money. You're not choosing between 225 and 175. You're choosing between nothing and something. Work on your sales skills. Self-assess. Improve your process. So, anyways, I hope that helps. And as I think about more of the things that I did, I'll let you know. But it's, again, just being responsive to customers is a huge, huge part of that. Have a great day. See you.